Welcome to the Raising the Vibration podcast. I'd like to start by acknowledging that we're broadcasting the Raising the Vibration podcast from the lands of the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation and pay my respect to the elders past, present and emerging. I acknowledge all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders people tuning into the podcast, and I'd like to celebrate the rich history of over 60,000 years of culture and storytelling on these lands. Today's guest is someone who is a very close friend of everybody down at Thieves, and I would say has made Australia like a second home. The story about our connection is I was DJing every week at Revolver in Melbourne, the infamous nightclub, and I was looking for tracks back in 2013, I think it was, and I came across this podcast by Jamie Jones that had this, for me, was a mind-blowing track on it. And I couldn't find it anywhere, so I went down the rabbit hole of trying to find this track, and I've eventually found the artist name and track, looked him up on SoundCloud, started messaging him. Turns out didn't have a manager, didn't have an agent, never played any gigs outside the UK. So I wrote to him and explained to him that I was a touring agent in Australia, also a resident DJ at Revolver, and that we were touring about 60 artists per year at the time, and that every year I had won what I called a love tour, which was a tour that I backed an artist based on them not having a big profile, but someone that we believed was going to be big. Fast forward to 2020, and this artist is one of the most talked about names now in dance music on a global level. But on top of that, he's one of the nicest guys you can meet. He's got a huge following in Australia. He loves Australia. Patrick Topping, how the hell are you, mate?
Hey, Mike, you alright?
Hi, good, man. Good.
Really good, aye.
How's 2020 going for you so far? Talk to me.
It's been a crazy year, hasn't it? It's just been such an adjustment.
Yeah.
Obviously, the live gigs has completely stopped, and that's been my life really for the last 7 years. Kind of just before me and you got round about the time you got in touch with me. Really, since then, because you were, as you were saying, you were one of the first people to book me. So. And everything you've done for us in Australia is amazing. So I've got to thank you for that. But yes, since then, I've just been basically on the road all the time. And obviously this year started the same, and then it's changed, and it's just been a massive adjustment for everyone. But I've just been cracking on the best I can, like everyone else, just trying to make the most of it, and just trying to be as productive as I can.
Yeah, and have you enjoyed the break? Because I mean, for me, one of the things in our industry, Pat, was like, it felt like you're eternally on the hamster wheel. You know, you're constantly like gig after gig into tour after tour, and it was like we never got a breather. So, you know, it's obviously a terrible situation for a lot of people that happened, but there's been parts of this whole experience that I think have been a positive experience, and that, you know, it's been an adjustment, and we've had time to kind of, I guess, reset a little bit, probably look after our health a bit better through the power of routine, and you know, also installing some good and new habits, or, you know, reinforcing some existing ones. What changes have you had on the health front or the mental health front over this year?
Yeah, so it's been really good, to be honest, because like you're saying, it's quite intense life. DJing, touring around, it can be quite unhealthy as well, depending how you manage it. And like when I first started doing it, which was 2013, it started taking off in 2013, and I would say the first 4 years were just like a whirlwind, like kind of like a blur.
Yeah.
And I was just, because I came from clubbing, from raving, from partying. DJing was a hobby to me. So like if I was doing it, I was drinking, I was getting on it. And then when it started becoming professional for us, I was still in that kind of party mindset of coming from being a raver. So I was like, I've been given this position as a DJ now. Hardly anyone gets to tour around the world. Of course, I'm going to smash it. Of course, I'm going to stay up, party, go to after parties and all that. And I was like, I thought it was like my duty to like, do you know what I mean? To get on it on behalf of like ravers, you know what I mean? It was that. I was like, so I'm going to smash the back doors off this. I'm just going to like take the piss on my body and myself. And I'm not, it was fun, you know what I mean? Like, of course it was fun. Like, I've partied so much. But I was playing like 2, 3, 4 times a week, every week. And I was constantly on it at each of those gigs, maybe it's an odd after party. And then when you add in like the hangover or like travel and all that, I was just completely
burning yourself out.
Yeah, unhealthy, really. Like, I used to come home and bang on the flat door, and Haley used to answer, and I would immediately just run up the stairs and be sick in the toilet. And like nearly like every time I came home.
Really?
And it wasn't a good time because for health, I mean, it was an amazing time. It was a time of my life in a way, but also we lived, because when the DJ first started taking off, I moved out my mom's house. Me and Haley got our first place together. It was a little flat in North Shields, and it was above a kebab shop, pizza shop well. Yeah. So like, you can imagine, I'm coming home on a whitey every single time, and I'm just eating from there. And it was, so something had to change really. And I started when I was about 26 saying like, oh, I'm going to be teetotal soon. I'll be teetotal before I'm 30. And everyone's like, nah, you won't. Like, everyone knew I like to party. And, but that happened sooner than I ever thought, because I just got so sick of that side of the gigs in the industry, where like every week I would start to kind of like not resent the gigs, but kind of be like, oh fuck, I'm in for I'm in for a really big one here. Like, not dreading the gig, but dreading everything that goes around it. Yeah. The consumption. So I was like, nah, it got to the point where I said, I didn't get in it for that. I've always got into the music first, and everything, the hedonism around that kind of went hand in hand with it, but wasn't the main thing for me. And I was kind of losing track of what was the main thing for us. It was the music. So I was like, I'm going to start trying to do gigs sober. So that gradually happened from when I was about 26, 27 in 2016 to more and more gigs. I would go sober and go home afterwards, and that got more and more of a regular thing. And then it got to about 2000 and when was it? What did I do?
Well, Pat, I remember. So it was like you were sober for about 3 or 4 weeks before you came to Australia for your December tour. And me and you were in the Greenwood together. You were playing New Year's Day, and you put one shot of tequila out there, and you said to me, I'm thinking about having this because I'm a bit nervous. And I said to you, mate, you've done 3-4 weeks, don't do it. You know, don't. And then you came off, and you absolutely tore the place, and you won that day. It was an epic gig at the Greenwood. And I remember, I remember chatting to you, and you kind of said like, I'm glad I didn't do that. And then you literally from there you kicked off. You did a whole year sober.
Yeah. That was 2018. It was just it was around about 2018 at the start of 2019, I think. But I ended up doing a whole year sober. And you're saying it's funny about that shot there, because it's been hard to learn to DJ sober, because I've never DJed sober. And until I started trying it, which was like a few years into my career, and by then I'd had the habit that I was used to performing with that crutch of the confidence of alcohol. So you talk about that shot there. So when I was trying to do it, that was like when I was going through my little transition period. Like, now I can DJ without a drink, and I'm not fazed by it at all. I actually prefer it. It's better. But at that point, when I was trying to do it, I was still coming to terms with it. So that little shot there was like my insurance policy. It was like, you know what I mean? It was like, if I get nervous, if the occasion gets this, I'll have that. But it was more just like, just knowing I had that available, give us the confidence. I didn't even touch it.
Yeah,
You know what I
that's
mean?
right.
Now I don't even need to have like a backup bottle of tequila. Like it's not even going
Yeah.
through me. I don't even want to see it. Like now my rider is, it's like fruit juice if I want a kind of sugar buzz. But I mean, I'm not a monk, do you know what I mean? So like I'll probably just end up on the Coca-Cola or the Fanta or something like that if I want a bit of energy. But then I have like protein shakes in my rider as well, just because I get starving all the time. And it's just, if you quickly neck one of them, it just like helps you hunger. Yeah,
Um,
so
Amazing. And Pat, tell me this: what do you think were what was the biggest challenges you had that year and that year that you were sober? Like, was it like the adjustment period of going from, I guess, being being pissed at gigs to being straight, or like it sounded like you kind of almost like weaned yourself off it. You'd done quite a few sober gigs prior to that. I mean, what challenges did you have, I guess,
well,
over that year?
it was it was like one step at a time. It was like, okay, so I've done my first club gig without drink. Then it was like, oh, I've done my first festival gig without drink. Then it was, oh, I've done my first festival gig during the day when it's light without drink. These were all little milestones. And it's like, oh, I've done my first intimate gig during the day when people are in your face like that
Yeah.
without a drink. Then it's, oh, I've done my first live stream without a drink. Oh, I've done my first back to back with someone without a drink. And it was all these things like that. And I can remember when I was first getting used to it, right at the start of it, I did it my debut at Awakenings in Eindhoven. This was in the winter one in January, and I remember I was so nervous for that because I was just getting Awakenings, such a big thing for me. I was buzzing to play Awakenings, always wanted to play Awakenings. But I was doing it at the same time as I've started this year, because up until that point, right, I had been trying to do it now and again, and I had been more often than not drinking, and it was getting more frequent that I wasn't drinking up until I did the sober year. But when I did the sober year, I said to myself, I'm doing a sober year now. So that in itself put this pressure in my mind, because before there was no pressure. It was like, oh, I'm going to try and not drink, and if I don't drink, mint. But when I've said to myself, and I said to other people, my management, my parents, doing a sober year, suddenly that flipped a switch in my head, and it was like this pressure. I'm like, and right at the start of doing that, it was my debut at Awakenings, and I can remember playing, and I was so nervous, like my hands on the decks initially. I was like kind of like a little bit like shaky at the start, but then I got into it. But
That's crazy.
so yeah, but now I prefer it now. It's much better now. It is so much better. The drink dumbs you down, and it's much more of a buzz. So much more of a buzz. Like sometimes I was playing, and sometimes I even spoiled a few things for myself because you get in such a state that you get like anxious, and you can ruin playing some really good things. I've done that occasions as I don't.
I've been there
I'm
as
so
well, mate.
yeah, I'm so lucky to have these opportunities to play some of these best stages in the world. Like, why? What is the point in doing that? That just defeats everything I'm in it for. So then, but now though, I'm playing, and I forgot what it's like to be there and have the like goosebumps all over your body, like when certain tracks drop and the crowd reactions and all that, and like these type of things don't happen to us when you're under the influence. You're just like there, and you think you're having a better time, but you're not, and you remember it so much more. And now I'm just kind of like take it or leave it now. So I ended up doing that year sober. Then I actually broke it. I think I broke it at Rainbow Serpent. I DJ'd sober at Rainbow, and
Yeah.
then afterwards I came off, and I was just having such a good time on the dance floor, and I stayed at Brown for like the 2 days, and I was like having such a good time. And I just said to myself, I proved to myself that I can do a year. You know what I mean? Like, how long am I going to keep this going
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
for? I debated doing it for life, because aside from the DJing, it's enriched my life so much more, because outside of the DJing, say things like I was best man at my dad's wedding, so I had to do a speech, and it was during this year sober. So like I'd never done something like that and not had a drink to calm the nerves. You know what I mean? And like doing interviews with magazines or websites, or doing a business meeting when you're going to meet potential partners and stuff like that, and not having a drink has made those aspects away from DJing, like it's grew us as a person, because you're out your comfort zone. You know, like if you had like a business lunch or something, you might even have like a beer or something. It could settle your nerves and stuff like that. And it's just grew me as a person, and I've come so much more confident from it. And the best thing I've ever done is that sober year.
I think, Pat, we've discussed this because I did a sober year as well when I just turned 30. And the one thing I felt that it did is it gives you incredible confidence when you're sober. And it's like, they talk about like Dutch courage, but it's like, it's more like, you know, the confidence to do stuff. You can do anything you want when you're sober. And then when you go, after you do that for an extended period of time, when you go back and do start enjoying a drink again, you still carry that confidence forward. Like now, like, and I mean, very similar to you, I had to get used to DJing sober, and then I actually really enjoyed DJing sober a lot more than I did when I was drinking. So when I actually went back and started having a drink with my mates again, I actually never drank when I DJ'd again, and still don't up until now, you know. And did you have any other, like, is there any other noticeable benefits you took out of that year? Like, I mean, obviously your health would have improved.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it was so good, and I was so passionate about it, but I recommend it to anyone, but I didn't want to then suddenly be on my high horse and be like, oh, you should do this. Do you understand the benefits of it? But I wanted to be like that because it was,
you feel so good.
It was unbelievable, the benefits I had from it. So I did kind of like, if I got into conversations with people, I would say kind of how I felt and that, but I almost wanted to be like converting people, you know what I mean? Like an evangelist for like drinking, but I didn't, I haven't went like that, but the benefits of it are amazing. And it's not just the like finding yourself as a person, and it makes you develop yourself, because you're just going out of your comfort zone. But the other things is, you know what's funny though? I was actually at the end of, like, I was definitely healthier because I wasn't drinking, partying, I was sleeping more. I was getting better food because I wasn't hungover and eating just shite on a binge, which I do.
Totally. Everyone does.
But the mad thing is, the flip side of it was, I was actually the heaviest I'd ever been at the end of that year, because at the start I was like, oh, I've cut out drink, I'm going to lose weight, but I wasn't really on my diet, you know what I mean? And like, I was also, when I was going out to days out, traveling, meeting promoters, festivals, all that, I would eat a lot more food when I was out, and I just ended up like, also if I was going out with people, to substitute that, I would be like, I had it in my head that I needed loads of sugar and loads of calories just to have the energy to be with people, and to like be on, and to like have that energy to socialize, and you know what I mean? So I just
totally
eating loads, and ended up like, it's quite ironic, I was the heaviest I've ever been then, but I was also healthy in different ways in my mind, and like dealing with like anxiety and stuff like that a lot better during that. Like, so much better when you've got a clearer head and you're not messing with your head like that. I handled everything a lot better, and like on the business side of things, I think I was more on the ball. I ended up like being more productive, making more music on my time off, and putting more time into finding music, and just being more on everything. More time for me social media, because I'm dying the next day. So I'll be like more on content, and like being in tune with my management over stuff. So it was definitely so many benefits, man.
Amazing, man. And I mean, Pat, one of the things, you know, and I think me and you talk like on WhatsApp anyway, at least like every other day, and we're always talking about, I would say the thing we talk about most is training and diet and health and stuff like that there, because I think we've both reached a point in our lives where that stuff's really important to us. I gain a huge amount of knowledge from the conversations I had with you, and the one thing that you've got me onto in the last, I've only taken up on it in the last like 3-4 weeks, that has been a complete game changer for me, is counting calories. Mate, I cannot believe like how many calories I was eating through what I thought was like really healthy foods. You know, I would just look. I would just look at something and see like a 5-star health rating on it and go, "That's sweet," and I would eat as much as I want, but not realizing that I was eating like 1,200 calories of hummus and before my dinner every day. Tell us a bit about how you got into your. Tell us a bit about your diet now. Probably your diet back then, and also, you know, how you got into the calorie counting thing, because I think it's a fascinating thing that our listeners would love to know a lot more about.
Well, I've been into training, exercise for like nearly all my life. I've been playing football since I was about 10 until I was about 23. So I've always been into fitness, health, not so much diet. That came into it a bit later, but I just think like the fitness side kind of leads up to how I got into the diet. And so like with the fitness and sport and stuff like that, I was playing really regularly, and but I stopped playing when I was 23, because when my career took off, when my first professional gig was in Stoke in June, and then 3 days later I had DC10, was my second ever like proper booking. And when that DC10 gig came in, I hung up my boots. I was like, fuck this, I'm not getting injured. I was like, no, like, nah, there's no way I'm missing that gig. And then I started getting more gigs, and I was like, I'm not getting injured and like not being able to like be on the decks or like travel or whatever. Like, so yeah, and also I used to play like centre defence and stuff like that, and it's quite physical for football. Like, you've had a few injuries. I've had my like tooth come through my lip and stuff like that before, and I was like, "Fuck that!" Like now that I do miss it, but like I've got other things to do now.
Yeah,
and it's kind of interesting as well, because I used to support Newcastle United as well, have a season ticket and stuff, and they got I think they got relegated around about the same time my career took off. And by the two things of me just having this new life and then getting relegated and me stop playing football, now I don't follow football at all. I could not tell you one of the starting 11 of Newcastle United, which I'm so out the loop. And I used to have a season ticket. You know what I mean? So like, yeah, football was a big thing, but also weight training was a thing. Like, I started doing that with my dad when I was 16, because he's always been into it. So I can remember doing that like just before my GCSE exams, like the morning of my GCSE exams, I was in the gym with my dad. So like that was the thing. The weight training, the resistance strength stuff was the thing that got me confidence as well, because I used to be like quite shit footballer. Then I started doing that, and then I got quite decent, and then I was like more of a regular player, and I was like quite reliable centre back, and I ended up even like being captain of the college team for a few times and stuff like that. And then I was playing up Edinburgh. I didn't play for the uni team, but I played for I blame not getting on the uni team on my toes, man. I was playing, and you know when your nails go, you like stub your toes forward and your nails go black. Both my big toenails came off in the trials, man. My boots were too small. I hadn't cut my toenails properly. These big toenails came off, man. But that's my excuse anyway. I might not have been good enough, really, but I ended up playing for a team up Scotland. Sorry, I'm off on a bit of a tangent here, but
that's all right.
I ended up playing for a local Saturday team in Scotland, because I went to uni in Edinburgh. And I just thought I had to quickly mention this, because I just thought it was interesting. Like, when I was in when I was playing football around boys club and into college, and when I started doing a little bit men's, when I went back home sometimes around Tyneside, I'd never seen violence on a football pitch before. Just a lot of hot air, people shoving each other like, what the fuck are you doing, head to head and all that. But I played up Scotland for this local team. Fucking hell, I've never seen anything like it. People getting nutted, smacked all over. Honestly, it's like a different level of
it's
violence.
like Braveheart.
Mate, it was insane. And those were the last games. Those were the last games I played. But anyways, I started doing that, and then I think, so yeah, I've always been into training and weight training in the gym and stuff. So I've always kept that up. But then when the tour and I was into it quite heavily. Like I'll be training like five times a week, every week. I was in quite decent shape, and then the touring started, and I didn't manage it. I couldn't balance the two. So I was always doing bits and pieces. Like I would never get the full 5 days in, because I used to like split it, like chest day, leg day, shoulder day, arm day, back day, like that. And I would never get a full week in anymore. I would do like the odd day. I would just like pick one. I might end up doing shoulders one week and legs the other week. And like, not enough really. And you end up like losing it and putting on like quite a bit, fat and stuff like that. I wasn't like too big, but then I would kind of find myself yo-yoing up and down, because I'd be like on tour. Then if I did come home for 4 days, I would be like, it got to the point where I think about 2015 or something, where I realized I needed to like go really strict when I was home. So it would be like two different ways of doing it. I would be at home and I would just be so strict on my food once I recovered from from being hanging, if I could, for like a day or two. And then when I was on tour, it was whatever. But then I think the sober year was what changed it, because then that changed my eating habits on the road. I was more healthy. I was taking more of I was eating a lot more food. Like I said, like what you said, I was heavier than I was, but I was eating healthy. I was getting nutrient dense food in instead of shite all the time. But then, so what I do is, though, every year I started doing from about 2015, I think, maybe it's about 2 or 3 years into touring. I started taking February off every year for my birthday. And that was mainly to make music, because those were the two things. Like I was making music every day before my career took off, and I was training every day. And then this come and I wasn't, because we got busier, a lot more commitments and stuff. And those were the two negative sides of it for me. I wasn't getting to make as much music as I wanted, and I wasn't being as healthy as I wanted to. So I would always take February off every year to kind of catch up on sleep, reset my body, so I was ready to go again physically and mentally for like another year of just as many gigs as I can do. And during that time, I wouldn't really make any music, because I would kind of do remixes on the road, because when you've got that pressure of a deadline, I could like squeeze them in, like, because I don't really have much of a studio. I've grown a little bit now, but most of the stuff just came out initially done on my laptop. So I could make stuff on the road, but I wouldn't have the mental will to do it. So, but unless it was a remix, so do the odd remix, wouldn't make any original tracks. So February would be my time to make my own music for the year. So I would do it, and I would make like 5 or 8 songs in that year, in that month. And then, but during that time as well, I would be like, right, I need to drop weight, I need to put muscle, I'll be training every day, dieting. But that month started getting longer, 5 weeks, 6 weeks, 7 weeks. I think this year it was 8 weeks this year.
Yeah.
Because I did like a month of making music, and then I went away for a holiday I moved it forward, and I went away for my birthday, and I had a 2-week holiday for my birthday. So that month I would always make like good gains. I would come out of it, and I would drop weight, I'd put a bit of muscle on. It was class, but that month started getting like better and better each time, and it was my mate really, who is into, he used to do like fighting, like MMA fighting.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was saying to him, I was like, how aren't I losing, like, why aren't I losing like more weight than this? And he was like, well, how many calories are you eating? And I was like, well, I don't know. I'm just like eating well.
Yeah.
And then he was like, nah, you need a calorie count. He's like, honestly, it's like maths. It's guaranteed. It's like what you put in is what you burn. He's like, you lose weight every day on it. So I started doing that during my time off about a couple of years ago, and then I would carry it into if I was home. I would on my days where I was home, I would do it, and I'd even tried started doing it on the road a little bit. Like I would literally, but it was daft. I would literally be in Burger King and be like, "Yeah, pass this." They have like a sheet.
Scanning the barcode.
Yeah, they have like a folder full of all the calories of the burgers and the chips and all that.
No way.
Yeah, you could see it, or you could look at it. You could look at it online and all that. And I was trying to do a bit like stuff like that, and but most time I wouldn't, and I would be guessing the calories and writing them down and stuff as well. But I don't do it all the time. But it's something that I had started doing. Like I did it like every day during my time off for like five weeks in 2018. And I've seen such a benefit of doing it. So I was trying to do it while I was on tour here where I can. And then most of this year, I've done it like nearly every day of this year. I've been doing it. And it's so good because it makes you so much more knowledgeable about it, because now I know things like, I know off the top of my head now, like 100 grams of bananas, like 89 calories, like I know that. Like, you know what I mean? And stupid things like that. Like I know 40 grams of oats is like 150 calories. I've got like a few things memorized.
Staples.
Because I eat basically nearly the same stuff like throughout the week, like nearly day on day. But I change it a little bit because I heard that's not the best way to do it. But like I said, I'm not a professional athlete or something like that, and this is just what helps me. Obviously, it could be better, but I've been doing that. But then I ended up this year was class because I was training really regularly, doing that regularly, and I ended up getting in probably the fittest I've ever been in my life this year when I'm 31. Yeah, like in the best shape I've ever been as well. Like I went to Ibiza in the end of August, and I think I was in the best shape I've ever been. And then, to be honest, I've let myself go since then a bit. Like I ended up putting on like 5 kilos since then. I mean, I've got it down to 3 kilos now. I'm getting back on it. But because when I was in Ibiza, I was just I ended up putting on like nearly all that 5 kilo in 1 week in Ibiza, because I've got a horrible sweet tooth, mate. Like honestly, like I'm like, that's another reason why I don't like to drink and stuff, because if I have a drink, I'm like, nah, I'm like an animal. I just eat anything that goes out the window. I'm like, nah, I'm pissed. I have anything. And if I'm hungover, like I will go to the shop and get like fucking 5 chocolate bars, 2 massive bags of crisps, go and get a McDonald's and a pizza and some cookies all in one day. It's like bad like that.
It sounds like The Rock's cheat meals, mate.
Yeah, no, it is like that. I never used to be like that, but I think since I started dieting, it's been like a kind of response to it. Like extreme diet is like I come back with this extreme binging, so like I do need to find more like of a middle ground on it. But yeah, the calorie counting is the game changer. If you can do it, like I don't do it all the time. I'm starting to try to. Like I've done it the last 2 days. I hadn't done it for like 5 days before that. But I'm starting to find I'm getting back into it now. I've had me fun, because the thing is, when all the restaurants and you couldn't leave your house and all that, I was like, this is my moment to really concentrate on my health, because I'll probably not get this chance again. So I went all in on it every day. I was doing like, and I was training like 6 times a week on resistance, and I started getting into running as well, which is something we need to talk about
definitely
for the first time. And I was running probably about 3 times a week, doing resistance training 6 times. So I was training 9 times a week, and I was only eating like 1,800 calories every day, and it was quite intense. And then now I'm not going to do it. That's that extreme.
Pat, tell me this. Do you change your diet based on what training you're doing at that? You know, like for example, if you know you're going to do a heavy weights day, would you intentionally consume more calories on that day? Or if you're going to do a long run, would you intentionally, have more calories, or do you try and keep it stable and go into a calorie deficit in certain days and a surplus in certain days?
What I had been doing most this year was I was just so hell bent on getting the body fat down. And I don't know if this is the right way or not to do it. It's probably not. I'm not that knowledgeable. I mean, I've always took an interest in it. I've always read those magazines. Like I studied a bit of sports science at college. I did sport at university. I've always been into men's health, like looking at all the Instagram pages and all that. I'm into that type of stuff. I don't know if it's the right way to do it or not, but I was more or less being in a deficit every day during most of this year when I was at home, until the beef hit, and then until all the restaurants opened up again, and I was like a kid in a sweet shop. I was like, I've been in my house for months, not seen anyone, so I've just been having and that's another main thing. Like, I never experienced living where I live because I was never here, and if I was here, I was just in the house recovering or doing work. So like, I'm used to being in the house because I'm quite a home bird. I'm working in the house on my days off, always, not really socialising. I hardly ever seen my mates over the last few years. If I really seen them, it was when they came to Ibiza, when they came to Miami, when I went on a stag do, when they come to one of my gigs around the UK and stuff. I'd hardly seen them. So I'd never been to all these establishments, all these restaurants, all these cafes, ones that have come and gone over the years. I've never even been to them. So when it opened up again, I've been like going out all the time and enjoying all these restaurants, putting this bit of weight on. But I've had my fun now. I'm back on the straight and narrow now. Like, I'm gonna get back hopefully to where I was like the end of August, probably in about 2 months. I reckon I can hopefully be back down there. Sorry, I've lost track of what we're talking about.
No, mate, that's totally cool, because one of the things you mentioned there was, like, you mentioned how you were in great shape before you were heading out to Ibiza, and like you sent me a couple of pictures, mate, and you looked like you were like, I was like, at that point, I can see that this calorie counting thing works, because you were fucking ripped as, man. And so I think that was one of the things that inspired me to give it a crack, not because I wanted to be ripped, but I've been doing lots of running, as you know, in anticipation I'm training for an ultra marathon in December. And I was putting up serious kilometers, but I couldn't figure out why I wasn't really losing any weight. And then when I started counting my calories, there was days I was having 8,000 calories, and not knowing that I was doing it, just in the last probably 3 or 4 weeks since you've put me on to like MyFitnessPal, and I've started counting my calories, I've seriously lost about probably 4 or 5 kilos. And as a result, my run times have all speeded up, and I feel lighter on my feet. It's been an absolute game changer. So just on the subject of running, so you are one of those people that kind of make me sick, because you just took to running like a duck to water, mate. You like from straight off the bat, the times you within your first couple of runs, you'd run a sub 20-minute 5K. You did a 10K in, was it just over 40 minutes?
Yeah, it was like 42 minutes.
42, and your first half marathon you did, like, was it like an hour and 40?
Yeah, it was 1 hour 40. Yeah,
1 hour 40. I mean, mate, there's people that train for years that never be able to get those kind of times. Tell me about your run experience so far. What got you into it? Do you enjoy it? Talk to me about it.
Yeah, I love it. It's been really interesting, and it's been so good. It's been the best new thing that's happened to me during lockdown has been running, because as I said, I've always been into sports. I've always done the odd off run, but it was, what's been a game changer? Strava, and recording the distance and time. That's something I never done before. When I used to be running, that I don't know whether that was about or not, but I'd never heard of it. So I'd never ran very far though. Like I don't think I'd ever even ran 5 kilometers before. And I got nominated at the start of the year. There was this thing in England. You nominate 5 people, you run 5 kilometers, and you donate £5 to the NHS. And I got nominated for that, and I was like, I got nominated by 3 people actually, and I was kind of like, I don't want to do it. And then the third one came in. And I was like, I'm gonna have to do this. Like, I'm gonna have to like. I was gonna do it. I was just delaying it because I was like apprehensive. I never really hadn't ran in ages, but I've always been into training though, because like I said, all the weight training and the football. But I left the football behind 7 years ago, and I want to play football again, and I've been missing it. I've been debating playing it again now because I've got some time at home. People are playing 5-a-side, 7-a-side, and all that, and I used to do all that. But I was speaking to my mate, and he said he didn't play for a long time as well, like 5 or 6 years. And he said his touch was awful. And he said it was embarrassing, and he was embarrassed of how shit he was. And now I'm like, I'm scared to play because I don't want to do myself an injustice, which is ironic because I think I'm fitter and stronger than I ever was when I was playing football. So like, I really want to give it a shot. But I'm older now as well. I used to be quite quick though when I was like 20, 21, sprinting. I don't know whether I'm as fast as them, but I mean, all my mates are getting older as well, so everyone will be getting slower. But yeah, it would be interesting to see like how I could handle football now on the fitness side, like blowing. But I'm just worried about being so shit, and also the injury thing's still there. And also like I'm more into like my running and my training than the idea of getting injured during football. But never say never. But yeah, it's not just the weight stuff I've been doing, because what I started doing was the game changer for me was another one which has been amazing. In 2018, when I was on my time off, I started working with a personal trainer for that month, a local lad around mine, a mate of mine, and what he got me into was body weight stuff. Before that, I turned my nose up at it. I was like, nah, you need heavy weights. I used to think I need a fancy gym. I need all the equipment. You know what I mean? That was also a block I'd put on myself when I was on the road, as well as most of the time I was just fucked and I couldn't be arsed. Yeah. If I did have energy, I'd be like, oh, there's no gym. The gym's not good enough. I need everything. I need the machines, free weight, bench, all the best machines, everything like that. And I was like, I can't train properly and all that. Just like putting excuses up like that. And working with this personal trainer, most of the stuff was body weight based. And I never really give it a shot. And I realized it's absolutely solid. The body weight stuff is so good for you. Yeah. And that then,
what kind of stuff, Patrick?
Well, even just one of the things he started getting us into because then I started applying it to when I was on the road, because if the hotel didn't have a gym, or I didn't want to go to the gym, or I didn't have as much time, I could always do a circuit, and he would always send us circuits. And like one of them, which I started doing nearly every day on the road, was just 20 minutes. I get a timer on my phone. You have 4 exercises. Most days I'll just do the same 4. I'll do press-ups, burpees, high knees, where you're standing, lifting, jogging on the spot, and then mountain climbers, you would call them, when you're on all fours and you're bringing your knees up like that. Yeah. And you just do like on the timer on your phone, you do 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off, and you do 10 rounds of each exercise. So it'll take like 20 minutes. And you just be blown, but I'll try and hit certain numbers. Like I'll be trying to do 10 press-ups every 20 seconds. I'll be trying to do 40 high knees every 20 seconds. You know what I mean? And just that, it's like a full body blast. You're sweating. It's absolutely like a good cardio workout as well. And like you get a pump all over on your body off it and stuff. And so those type of things. So I'd always been doing that. So when I got nominated to do and also another thing I like to do is go running around the seafront around mine. I would go to like the stairs. There's these huge staircases down from the promenade to the beach. We're like 100 stairs, and I would do like 10 up and down that, like, and like little banks, sprints, circuits and stuff like that. So I've been into that, but I hadn't been into continuous running. So when I got to that, I think that's why I started off with like quite a decent time, because I had like a base fitness level. I wasn't inactive. I was I was active, but obviously it's different from running. But when I did that first run, I did that 5K in like 23 minutes, I think, that first charity one. And you were like, holy shit, that's mint. You were impressed by that. And I was buzzing, because you're like Mr. Miyagi. You're like the master of running. You've been trying to get me. you've been trying to get me into running for years. So like when you were like taken back by that, and you were like, actually, you seem like you could.
Mate, I told you that was a really good time for someone who's just done. Like, don't sugarcoat it. It was like, yeah, I was pretty blown away.
I was buzzing with that. So then I started getting competitive with myself, and then also with the Strava, with the being able to time it, and that was a game changer. So
see everybody else as well.
Yeah, well, it's a competitive thing as well, because then you've got all of my mates are doing this NHS thing, and everyone starts running, and everyone's doing the times. I'm like, I'm going to be faster than all of them. You know what I mean? So like, I wasn't faster than all of them, but like a lot of them. But yeah. I started being like, right, I'm going to get it down. So then I ended up doing. I think I got 19 and a half minutes. Like, I think I've done that 3 or 4 times.
Were you? I think, did somebody tell me you were faster than some of the Newcastle United football players or something?
There was footballers in the Premier League putting their NHS time up, and I was getting quicker times than them. It was
amazing.
So I started getting really into it, but I'd never ran that far before until that charity thing. So then it was like, right, I'm going to get me 5K times down. I ended up getting it under 20 minutes. So I was like, right, I'm going to go on to 10K. Started doing that and getting me time down. Then I was like, I'm going to do 15K. But I didn't listen to you. You were like, you need to train properly. Like, there's ways of doing it. I was just going in like with an ego, like, I'm going to smash my time every time, and everyone's going to see how fast I am. You know what I mean?
Pat, you know what? When you were running, do you know what you were reminding me of? You were reminding me of a young DJ that just goes in and just turns all the mixer, everything up in red, and just red lines the mixer, and just goes like thinks by turning everything up as to max on the mixer that it's going to produce the best sound, but it actually doesn't. But the thing for me was your natural talent, mate. The fact that you could hit like 42 minutes for 10K with like no training, or 140 for a marathon with no training. I keep saying to you, man, like if you focused on running, you could be a really, really good runner. But I think also you obviously love combining running with weights and doing other stuff as well.
I think that's been my downfall though, like 2 things, just not listening to you and just going too hell for leather with the running, like, because you were saying to us, you need to put the miles in slow, you need to condition your body, your joints, you need to get used to running. Like you told us, like, not every run has to be a PB. You don't have to get your own record every run. But I just wasn't listening to you, and I was getting all these times quicker nearly every time I did it, and all these different distances, and it was getting addictive. Anyway, now I've injured myself, and I haven't ran. I haven't ran in 3 weeks now, and I think I started getting this really bad pain in my arse and my glutes and my hips. And I think it was a combination of these runs, because I wasn't building it up as well. Like you were saying, you should be jumping up like 10%. I was just like, I've done a 5K. Oh, now I'm just going to do 10K. Oh, now I'm going to do 15. Oh, now I'm just going to do a half marathon. And I wasn't building it up, and I was going too fast. And I wasn't running that regularly. Sometimes I wouldn't run for 5 days. Then I'll be, I'm just going to do a 10K as quick as I can. And I think I've damaged myself. And also, because I was getting so into my weight training, I changed my weight training over the summer as well. Because up until this year, if I was in the perfect week, I would train 5 times a week in the gym, different body parts. I don't train in the gym anymore anyway. Like even like at the start of the year, from my time off, I bought some weights for the back garden, and I've just got literally dumbbells and a barbell and a pull-up bar, and I can do my whole body there. Yeah, even legs. You can do squats, you can do deadlifts, you can do your whole body there. So I do that. But what I started changing this year was I started changing it to push and pull. So do a push session, a pull session, a leg session, and then I would do another push session, pull session. So I trained 6 times a week. So I was training legs twice a week and doing all these runs. And I just think hopefully I've just overused it, and I couldn't even walk recently without feeling it, but I've been walking again this week without the pain. So it's been 3 weeks. So Also, I think that's part of the reason I put a bit of weight on as well, because I haven't been doing I haven't been doing any cardio, because if I wasn't running before running, I was doing these circuits, but I haven't been doing those circuits because I don't want to be activating I want to give it a rest.
Yeah.
So, but I'm gonna try a light run next week and see how I get on. But and I don't want to be training 9 times a week. So quite a lot of those days, twice a week anymore. Like, I did it and it was fun. I think what I'm gonna do when I'm recovered is I'm gonna just train 5 times a week. I'm gonna do a slow run, like you said, on a Monday. Try and keep getting the miles longer and longer, but a really slow pace. And then I'll do like a Tuesday a push session, a Wednesday a leg session, a Thursday pull session. Then a Friday I might do one run for time as quick as I can. And that's it. And that's going to be it for me. I mean, I'm not an athlete, and I do enjoy it, but like I don't know. I go through phases. I change what I do all the time. I think that's gonna be me for a while until I get bored and go on to me next.
That's a really good balance. And like, as you said, like, you know, none of us are professional athletes. I'm obviously training for this one event that I've got coming up. And, you know, it's great. You've been part of our quick squad down here in Melbourne, that, you know, like, you've been involved with all the guys, like with your Strava times and stuff. But yeah, I mean, it's like, you got to just do what's right for your body. And I know one thing with running is so many people get injured just trying to jump the distance too quickly. You know, there's a 10% rule, which is basically states that, you know, you need to increase the volume by no more than 10% a week or you're going to get injured. And look at what's happened to you has happened to everybody, you know. So it's it's like you just learn from it, you know. Pat, one thing, I'm just conscious of time here, and there's one topic I definitely want to touch on, which is something that you do that I find so admirable, and I wish more people would do it. And you've inspired me to do it as well. Is about 3 times a year, I get a notification from you going, "Hey mate, phone's gone off for a week," and you switch yourself off from the world. I think in today's the life that we live today, that is just, it's so powerful. Tell us a bit about what inspired you to do that. How long have you been doing it first? What inspired you to do it? And as well, I'd like to know about any kind of what's the benefits you get out of it, but also, do you find it hard to like completely disconnect? Do you ever get times during that week every year when you're going, "Oh shit, I really wish I need to check my email"? Or tell us a bit about your digital detoxing strategy, because it's very important.
Yeah, well, I'm addicted to my phone. I'm addicted to it.
That's great you acknowledge that, mate.
I think most people probably are to some level addicted to it.
Totally.
And, like, I'm sick of it. Like, I love it in some ways, but I hate it as well. I don't know if I'm just nostalgic for my past, you know, like when I was a kid and I was growing up and there was no phones. Like, sometimes I think, would life be better like that? You know what I mean? More in the present. But yeah, so my phone, it becomes too much, especially with what I'm doing, because one, I have these public pages with followers, and that can be addictive in itself. Doing posts, what are people saying? Is it getting likes? What content am I going to get out? Also get enjoyment. I want to show people this. I want to show them what I'm up to. I want to show them this music, this gig. So that you could just be posting online all the time if you want to do. There's that. Also, there's the work side of it. Like, I don't work normal hours. Like, what I do is my work is my life. Like, I don't switch off. I take my work home with us. Like, some people leave their work like at work at the office, but it's like my life. There's always someone on the phone.
You're always on.
From the industry. I've always got unread messages. Like, I kind of keep up with my phone, even with my mates. There's always people from the industry messaging, and always like people I've got to know over the years, and also mates. There's people I'm really close to that I don't reply to as often as I want to, because I don't know if I've got this block I put up in my head, but I feel like there's only a certain number of like productive thoughts I can have in a day. You know what I mean? Like,
totally.
You know what I mean? Like, I kind of, can't speak to everyone as much as I would want to. So yeah, I get sick of my phone and it overwhelms us like that. I kind of like my WhatsApp's always out of control. My
When you say
Instagram,
when you say overwhelms you, do you mean like does it give you anxiety?
yeah, it can do sometimes, but more to, yeah, sometimes you just kind of like just feel on top of it and you just want to zone out from that. So yeah, if I have a holiday, like a proper holiday where I'm not where I won't even go on the computer to do emails and I turn my phone off. I think I've done that 3 weeks this year where I've turned off my phone and I've told Haley, don't tell us anything unless it's like an emergency, like because she's always plugged in. Don't tell us, and I won't go on I won't go on my emails, and I'll have like nothing to do with it, and that is good. I remember, I think I've done that about 3 times this year. But yeah, I remember when I was turning my phone on when I was in Ibiza, and I was like, right, I'm going to turn my phone on when I leave the hotel. I was sat having breakfast that morning, and I was like, just all I could think about was that, and it was giving us anxiety. And I was like, and I knew events had been launched without us, because I do all my social media myself. But like sometimes if I take that holiday, it's like it doesn't work with other people's plans. So like I hate other people being active on my social media for me, which is very rare. It's only if I'm on holiday. And I was like, oh, I wonder how things are going, and I wonder what messages people are, I wonder what emails I have. And I couldn't wait until we left the hotel, because that was the way I was going to turn on the taxi on the way to the airport. And I was at breakfast, and it was like, I couldn't eat, and it was like turning us up. I was like, fuck it, I need to turn my phone on. So weird.
Yeah.
So there's stuff like that. But then, so yeah, turning it off though and having that time off from it is amazing. But what I've started doing quite regularly, it's not like a full switch off. Like I've started doing it, say if I just want to make some music, because it's so much distraction, I'll turn my phone off quite often if I have a remix deadline this year, but I'll still be on the computer. I would still go on my emails. I would still go on Facebook or Twitter on the computer if I wanted to, but I just wouldn't have my phone there, because so I wouldn't have emails and the WhatsApps on my phone and the Instagram, because the Instagram's a big distraction. So that's a kind of half one I do, where like my phone's off, but I'm still on the computer if I want to be. But that can be really productive for doing so. Sometimes I even just like, even some days I'll just be like, if I've got like every day I've got like, I plan my day like that. Like on my phone, I've got my full week planned out with like lists of things I want to do each day, and I'm constantly rearranging my lists like about 1 week in advance, and then I've got like a big list at the bottom which I just keep bringing jobs up from and putting them in it. And it's like I could never diminish this list. I could never do this list in. I thought this was going to be an opportunity this year to do it, but it's like bigger than ever. And it's like obviously like the touring side's finished, but the music industry is still going. You know what I mean? And also you need to put more effort into that as well, because you don't have the touring. So I'm like, I still want to like do as much as I can in the other sides.
Yeah.
So yeah, so sometimes what I do is during the day, if I've just got loads I want to do, I might even just turn my phone off for a couple hours and just really crack on with stuff and then turn it back on. I don't know. I like doing that. And also when I turn my phone off for like a week or something, it's so good. You get out of the routine. Usually I'll go to the toilet, be on the toilet, and I'll be, oh, I need to see what's happening on WhatsApp while I'm on the toilet, or Instagram or whatever. And it's just daft. And then you when you turn your phone off, you get out of that routine so quickly. And I'm like so much more present, and it's class. And I enjoy it so much more. And then every time I go to turn it back on, I'm like, right, I'm not going to be addicted this time. I'm gonna do it sparingly. There's going to be moderation in my usage, but I'm just clean back into that behavior, and I don't like it. But I do enjoy it as well. But yeah.
Do you find, Pat, is it something like, say, for example, like with the for example, sobriety thing, where the more and more you do these digital detoxes, the more that you kind of become at least more aware that you're using your phone more?
Well, it is a little bit. I think it is a change in me behaviour a bit, but then I'll have days where I'm just on my phone for fucking 10 hours. You know what I mean?
Fuck.
But then I'll have some days where I won't. But yeah, I reckon overall I probably am going on my phone a bit less because I've been doing these like cold turkey sessions of it. But with the drink, definitely, I'm definitely take it or leave it now. Like most of the time, I don't even drink. Like if I'm going out with my mates, for like we went out for some food the other night with my mates, and people were having a few drinks and food. I was just having food. I feel like I'm actually better company. I'm actually more energy now. Like sometimes I find a drink and it just sucks me energy from us. It just brings us down. Like I don't need that because now I'm more comfortable with who I am now. But I don't think that's just because of being sober though. I just think I'm 31 now. I'm not the same person I was when I was started my career when I'm 23. All these experiences I've had in life and in the industry, and I've grew as a person anyway, as well as the sober thing. I like socializing better without it, and the phone's the same as well. Sometimes you go out and you see some of your pals and you're out with them, and some of them are just there on the phone and not engaging, and
Totally.
It's sad. I think I think being sober and being off your phone as much as possible, that's when I'm happiest, definitely. That's when I'm the most productive, and when I'm training as well. To combine those three together and on my diet, that's when I'm really happy. But there has been probably about the year before I started, like 2019, a lot of 2019, I was pretty healthy when I was on the road and doing a lot of training on the road. This bodyweight stuff was a game changer. I would get up and I had quite a lot of parties in 2019 actually, because I did 2018 basically sober.
Yeah.
So I had like quite a few. Like 2019 was the most fun I've ever had. Like Rainbow Serpent.
Yeah.
Got on it. Glastonbury the whole weekend. Vegas, Amsterdam. A big party in Ibiza. There was like this handful of about, I don't know, maybe 8 where we had like proper sessions and went for it, and I had so much fun. But apart from that, rest of the year I was teetotal and I was healthy, eating well, training well, and I've just brought that into this year, not going on my phone as much, and I just feel so much better when I'm doing those things. But like I said, it's not always.
Amazing, Pat. Well, that's awesome, man. It's so good to get an insight into what you do to keep yourself happy and healthy, and like hopefully some of the listeners can listen to some of the positive changes you've made in your life, and think about implementing some of this stuff. Patrick, last question I asked everybody on the podcast is, obviously 2020 is like been a year like no other. What are you doing to keep raising the vibration?
What do you mean exactly by raising the vibration?
How are you creating positivity in any way possible in any aspect of your life or anybody around you?
Well, one of the things we've done is we've upped the output on the label, releasing more music than ever, because it was kind of at the start of the year.
Trick's on fire at the moment.
Oh, cheers, man. At the start of the year, it was like no one knew what to do in the industry. It's like, do you wait until things go back to normal, or do you proceed, or do you crack on? I think everyone's found their feet now because it's been going on for so long. But there was a kind of a bit, people didn't know what to do, whether to put music out or not. There was a lot of conversations of people saying, oh no, let's hold stuff back until the clubs and festivals are open again and stuff. But we ended up carrying on all the way through and actually up the output more than we've ever done, because we were doing one release a month. Now we're doing two a month. We've been doing 2 a month.
Amazing.
And I love that, because for loads of reasons, like most of the stuff we put out is unknown or up and coming, not very well known artists. So it's meant to be able to have that platform for even more people, and to help people get their music heard, and hopefully give them a good platform. I mean, we've had some people who haven't released, who've had like the most streams I've ever had and stuff like that with us, and so that's amazing to see.
That's
And
so good, mate. It's like you're basically providing a springboard for a lot of these, talented young artists to like actually launch their careers, mate. It's so admirable, and it's like, yeah, it's I'm so, mate. We've all got all these fingers crossed that hopefully this trick show happens in April, because there's so much buzz and excitement around you and around the label in Australia.
amazing, man. So yeah, that's been amazing, and also the music's so good, and I love curating it, I love picking it, and I love presenting it to everyone to listen to, and I get such a buzz off that. And I think now with what's going on, I've consumed more media now than I ever have in my life, really, because I've had more time. I haven't been traveling, so I've been watching more stuff at night, like at the end of every day, no matter like what I've been doing, really. Like even if I've been working like all day, like even into the evening, I'd end up watching something before I go to bed, even like
Yeah.
1 hour of something, or like a few hours of something, like every night. I've watched stuff I've never watched before, but I've been wanting to watch for years. And I think art and media has become so much more important for people, but maybe it's more than it ever has, because other things have been taken, other opportunities being taken away for socializing. So that side of it as well, it's been so good to be able to like put out music, even more music than we ever have, to like give people something to hopefully listen to that they enjoy. So like I've took enjoyment from that side as well. I think it's catch-22, because you don't have the club side, and it's like, oh, imagine if everyone was hearing this in the clubs and the DJs were playing it, would it be so much more bigger? Would so much more people be listening to it? So you don't have that. But then you've got people at home, maybe he's listening to a bit more music. And so, yeah, it's been nice to be able to put stuff out and to put my stuff out. And also on my production side, it's the most time I've ever spent on making music, which has been cool. It's been cool because usually I kind of dip in and out throughout the year if I can, but not really. Then I've got like 1 month to make music, and I feel like enormous pressure during that month to do it. Because it's like, this is my time to do it. And I always make stuff I've been proud of and happy about, but like because I already had that month. I had that month at the start of the year. I had all my music made, and then this happened. I'm like, oh, now I've got all this time as well, but I don't have the pressure of that month. So it's like, I'm going to experiment. So that's where I've ended up going into some new stuff, where like I've recorded Haley, and like,
oh man, the new record's huge. It's
and that came out with Haley on, and we started another one in February where she did some vocals, but we didn't finish it. So we've now finished that one. That's called Disco Hits. That's going to come out. I have ended up doing vocals for a song, and that's something I'm working on some more stuff like that now. And I learned the machine. I've got the Native Instruments machine. I learned that during this time, and I've just upgraded my studio a little bit. I mean, I don't have the stuff yet, but I've got some bits coming. So it's been amazing for developing that side as well. It's been really, really creative and productive, and like behind the scenes, what we've got going on with the label and with me and stuff, we've been doing stuff which we would have never been able to do before. So although there's been massive setbacks and opportunities, like Trick Melbourne getting rescheduled, and like we've had like loads of Trick events cancelled, and I'm thinking, and I've had loads of gigs for me, like amazing gigs, where I had really good set times on really good stages, and I'm like, oh, it's such a shame this is not going to happen. And I'm like thinking, oh, maybe that was it for me. Like my stars were aligning in such a perfect way, and I'm worried, I might not get those opportunities again. But you never know. So I'm just trying putting as much effort I can So hopefully when things come back to normal, we can just crack on and hopefully pick off where we were and push on even more.
Well, Patrick, I can tell you the whole of Australia is eagerly anticipating your return back, but I'd like to thank you so much for the time today. I think there's been so much amazing content that our listeners are going to get a lot out of. And yeah, look forward to seeing you on the DJ booth at the Wool Store. It will happen. Stay positive. We're going to manifest it. And thanks very much, bro. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having us, mate. It's been really fun.